Welcome to the Inspired Caring podcast, where women who are in the messy middle of this big, beautiful, and sometimes chaotic life are finding inspiration and resources to care for themselves and figure out the best options to care for their aging loved ones. How we take care of ourselves today impacts how we are aging tomorrow. This podcast will help you feel seen, centered, and aligned. Everyone that relies on you is so lucky to have you in their life. The Inspired Caring podcast is your reminder that the number one person that counts on you is yourself. Congratulations on being here in this moment. Let's dive in and be inspired. Today's episode of Inspired Caring is really special. We have two guests with us. We have Brenda Freed and Alder Allensworth, Alder Allensworth with us. And I'm going to invite both of them to share a little bit about their backgrounds, but dementia is definitely top of mind with our conversation. And we're going to talk about children and education and multiple different avenues, but that's where we're kind of starting. So Alder, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting us, Michele. I am in the healthcare industry and have worked in hospice and with people with dementia and other life-limiting illnesses as a professional and as a music therapist. But when my mom got Alzheimer's, it was a whole different ballgame. It's just really different being on that side versus on the professional side. And I found myself as a sandwich generation caregiver because I was working, I was going and helping care for my mom, and then her grandchildren would come and visit, and little Olivia, and that's how we got our whole program started. It's all her fault. Oh. She was drawing these drawings and showing them to my mom, and the drawings disappeared. She accused my mom of stealing them. We finally found the drawings in a laundry basket, and I knew I had to explain to this 7-year-old what Alzheimer's was. And my professional hat kind of kicked in, and I started looking for research or resources of how do you explain Alzheimer's to a 7-year-old? How do you explain that her gran was not being mean? How do you explain that this is a disease and it's not really the same loving person her gran is? And that led me to finding very little for little children. So I decided, well, I better create something. And from that incident, I started putting on my thinking hat. And then that's where Brenda kind of came in. Do you want to jump in, Brenda?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having us, Michele.
No, I'm so happy you're here, Brenda. Good to see you.
Yeah, so my background is in, I have a master's degree in music therapy and music education, and I actually pioneered the music therapy program at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics in the 80s, all through the 80s, and I also taught a little bit of 2 years K through 12 music before that. But anyway, then in 1989, I did a 9,000-mile bike trip that led me to Texas. From there, I decided to become a singer-songwriter because I've always been performing, and so that's what I've been doing. I've been writing music, recording it, and performing for a long time now. And then I've also been teaching privately, guitar, piano, and voice, and since 2017, I've been doing that online. I teach harmony and vocal workshops at conferences and festivals, and so I get students from all over the country by doing that. And when Alder approached me about this project, she and I met in 1980 during our music therapy internships. We've always wanted to do a collaboration. We work well together. And so when she approached me about this, I was all in because I love the idea of helping people who have Alzheimer's in their family and the children. You know, I just love the idea of helping the children understand it and forming relationships so that when they grow up, they have a relationship with that person, or they had a relationship, rather than saying, oh, you know, my loved one had Alzheimer's and didn't know who I was, so I didn't know who they were, basically. So we wanted to change that scenario. And my experience is through my music therapy practice, working with people who had Alzheimer's as well as children. Also, my dad died of COVID-induced dementia in 2020. He was a very active, high-functioning 95-year-old man. So these skills came in handy in the 5 months that he was dealing with that before his death.
There's so much crossover between our professional work and the lives that we're living and the people that we're trying to serve and care for. Like, it's always, I find there's always a connection back to family in some way, shape, or form. I love, Alder, that you had that inspiration. My mother-in-law lived with frontotemporal dementia for 12 years. And, you know, it's so hard when you're in that moment to be really inclusive of everybody in the family and their experience with dementia, or the person living with a dementia. And for us, like, we did the best we could to explain to our 3 kids. They were her only 3 grandchildren were our children. And I think we probably did a really terrible job.
Oh,
To be honest with you. I mean, we did the best we could.
sure.
That I feel confident about, and each of them had different abilities to really understand what was going on. So as you've been developing your curriculum and books and things like that, are you finding that people learn in different ways or have different capacities to understand?
Well, we know that in this digital age, our first thought was, you know, let's make a book. But books are kind of a little passé here, and we really wanted to make it accessible to children who are growing up in the computer age. And Brenda wrote this incredible song about Alzheimer's, about a young girl named Mackenzie, and how she learned about having her grand having Alzheimer's and her trying to figure out what to do. So we've decided that wouldn't this song make a great video? And we had it animated, and it's on YouTube.
Oh.
And so it's really important to us. We thought this is going to meet people where they're at initially. You want to jump in on that, Brenda?
Well, just the little backstory of that both of us used songwriting as a therapeutic tool in our music therapy practices. And a correction is we co-wrote that song.
True.
You know, and so we knew that the project, we wanted it to have a music component. So that was kind of the first thing that came to us, is let's write a song that describes the situation. And what we're finding is that people have different levels of openness to wanting to educate their families. You know, I think there's a lot of resistance from caregivers sometimes to reaching out for help or to getting help, because there's something about self-identifying as a caregiver that is not always easy. And there are many reasons why people don't want to identify as a caregiver, but we're finding that that is a little bit of an inhibition in getting educated about it. So in answer to your question, yeah, but you know, it's difficult to reach the people who are really interested in the education, and we have designed the program so we can meet people at different levels. In other words, if they just want to hear the song, or if they want to watch the animated video, or if they want to get further informed, they can go to our Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's awareness program, which we developed as a digital video series that Alder mentioned. We decided, let's go the digital route, so it would be available to anyone all over the world who has an internet connection. So that led us to the program. Yeah. And, I can tell you a little bit about the program.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect time to tell us a little bit about the program, because I'm just thinking, our kids at the time, oh my gosh, at time of diagnosis, were like 12 and under.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a 7-year-old to a 12-year-old. So like they are at different stages and abilities, and then also having different capacities for learning. Our middle child is very much like, if there's conflict in the room, that girl is charging into the room to see what's going on and how can we get back to peace.
Mm-hmm.
If she's uncomfortable about something, she is going to tackle it head on, where my other kids were a lot more reserved or hands off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would love to learn more about the program and just how it can help meet kids where they're at as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we know how hard it is for caregivers to balance work, parenting, and caregiving. And so we wanted to meet that challenge. And we designed the program so that it has language children can understand, but yet the information is for everyone. We found that there are many adults, even nurses and doctors, people working in the field, that don't know that much about Alzheimer's or any type of dementia. So we wanted it to be to serve like children on up. And the videos include what is Alzheimer's disease, and it's demonstrated in like all the steps it takes to get a glass of milk, for example. So, we go through the thought process of, you have to first decide, what do you want to drink? Then how do you get that drink? And so you have to go to the cupboard, get a glass. What glass? And as you can imagine, all the little details that we don't think about just to get a glass of milk. Well, where's the milk? In the refrigerator. And so in our What is Alzheimer's video, we discuss how we kept it simple. Plaques and tangles interfere with thought processes, and then the person's need for a glass of milk or whatever they want to drink doesn't get met. And how this happening throughout the day, makes it hard for someone to get anything done, and also just to make it throughout the day without a tremendous amount of frustration. So that's how we explain that. And then the video on mild Alzheimer's disease, we describe the behaviors. So we provide information about the behaviors that one might see, and then tips on how to handle those behaviors, and then activities. And we do that for the mild, moderate, and severe stages. So we say we can take a family from diagnosis through the severe stage and help them cope with their loved one's behavior and have a relationship. We focus on love and understanding, and being patient, and just treating people with respect. So, people learn to do that throughout the entire disease. And then those are all shorter videos to accommodate the short attention spans we have in this day and age, with everyone. Yeah. So I really want to emphasize that, we're not asking caregivers or their families to devote a lot of time to this process. It's the What is Alzheimer's video is something like 6 minutes. The mild is 9 minutes. The moderate is 11 minutes. It's the longest phase usually, so there's more to it. And then the severe stage is only a 7-minute video. We recommend that people watch these, if they get the program early on, as the disease progresses. They're not to be watched all at once, but watch them as you need them. However, if someone comes in at the moderate stage, we do recommend that they watch the mild stage video because those behaviors are carried throughout the moderate and forward. And then we have another video in the program that's called Coping with Alzheimer's for the Responsible Adult with Children. That is for adults to watch before they show the other videos to the children, so they're informed. It is a 26-minute video because in it we talk about how to incorporate children into the care, to maybe give the adults some self-care time, and also to how to talk to children about Alzheimer's. And so it's a little longer video, but once the person watches that, and then if they watch the other ones with their children, they can answer some of their questions more.
I love that because you're giving the adult a framework for obviously what their kids are going to be learning, but it also, sometimes as adults, we can be in denial too about certain things and different things. And I love that the recommendation is to go back to the beginning, because that can help wire that connection for an adult child caregiver or another family member to be like, okay, yes, now I'm starting to really see what has kind of led us to this moment.
Right. And also included in the program is the animated video. They can get that and just a recording of the song. And we also provide what we call a quick reference guide so that people don't have to take notes. I know how hard it is to remember things when you have a ton of things going on. So the main points are listed on the quick reference guide. So they have the information at their fingertips, including the activities that we suggest. And those are just suggestions. Of course, there are lots of activities to do, but we give people a really good starting point with, I think, like 10 or 11 activities in each stage. Yeah.
Alder, we've kind of touched on a lot of things. Did you have some ads in there?
Yeah, I do have one ad. Is as a caregiver, sandwich generation caregiver, you kind of feel pulled in half. You've got the person you're caring for, you've got your children, and maybe I should say pulled in three places because you're trying to take care of you too. And so how do you balance all that? And some people are afraid, what if Gran does something really strange and my child gets hurt? Or what if the child does something that triggers Gran to get angry, or as simple as opens the front door when Gran says, "Can you let me out?" And the child opens the front door because they're used to obeying what their elders ask them to do.
Right.
So having this basic information and knowing your child has this really good information, because you can educate your child. And that's one thing people seem to have a hard time grasping. I see it over and over again. I've told my loved one with Alzheimer's 10,000 times not to do XYZ.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to learn, but the child can learn. And they're not going to, the loved one is not going to learn because of the disease.
Right.
The child can learn. So you can teach and educate the child. And one of the things that you can teach them and then rest assured in yourself is that you've taught them when to come and get you if they're uncomfortable, if something happens that they're not sure about. And we talk about it, when do you come and get a responsible adult? Because it's so important. That way the adult, the sandwich generation caregiver, could go and read a few chapters of a favorite book, or maybe go take a bubble bath while Gran and the child are playing dolls in the living room or whatever. And they're assured that if something comes up, the child knows to come and get you. And that's really peace of mind. And children are a resource we don't even think about. You can say, oh no, I've got to go make the snacks for after school because they're coming home from school and I've got to get the snacks. And then Gran never wants to eat, but then she wants to eat all the time. How about sending the child and Gran into the kitchen to make snacks together? Simple snacks. And we have a PDF on, what is it, 10 or 12 simple snacks that they can do together. So it's real important for the caregiver, if you include the child, it takes a little bit of the burden off of you.
Well, and I could not absolutely agree more. I think people are also underestimating tremendously what their children are observing, picking up on, feeling. We're not giving our kids enough credit for knowing and maybe even seeing things that we're not seeing, but we're not giving them enough credit that they have been around this person and that they have identified that they have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talk about that. My mom, one time I asked her, how are you feeling? She says, I feel thonky.
Thonky?
Thonky.
Oh,
and
I
we
love that
incorporated into our song. And I was like, well, thonky, okay, what does that mean? And we finally figured out she wasn't feeling right. She knew something was wrong.
Mm.
And the children, because they're used to imagination, making up words, play, and they have, as we talked earlier, bandwidth. They have a little more bandwidth at times than the caregiver does because we have so many things on our mind. Sometimes they can figure those things out a lot quicker than we can. And so we encourage children to be the sleuth of the family. We can't find Gran's purse. Where do you think Gran would have put it?
Mm-hmm. That's so important. I think it's so important. There is a picture book, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
So
there is.
yes. Oh, here it is. Oh,
oops.
We're blurred. It's back. There, Mackenzie meets. Oh, there it is.
Oh, shoot. I'm trying to be still. I'm so sorry.
Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's picture book.
Disease picture book.
Disease picture book. What is unique about the picture book? Oh, that's very good. Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah. We're getting yes. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to it. So
that's great. That's great.
Yeah. And the YouTube video and the website. So I'll put all these links.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
The unique thing about the picture book is because we had this song written that we told you about, the Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's Disease story song is what we call it. So we decided to design this picture book. It uses illustrations from the actual educational videos. And then we use the text or the lyrics for the song as the text for the book. So it's unique because with the song component, it allows different ways to interact with the information in the book. They can play the song and just look along for the pictures. They could sing along. They could just listen and read along. It just makes, it's a really non-threatening way to introduce this information that can be kind of scary.
Mm.
Like at one point in the song, it says, she might not remember me. Oh, we just put this feel to it that it's a children's song. And we think, it has a repeating chorus, and the chorus is agape, because we use the Greek form of the word, meaning, universal love. And we just talk about how this person needs love and understanding. So that's what makes the book unique. And also in the book, we offer a coupon for the program for 50% off. And we are, it's very reasonably priced. I don't know if you want us to talk about that on this, but so if a person gets the book and then gets the program through the book, it's a very economical investment for a huge return.
Well, and I think because, pricing can sometimes change. So we'll just direct people to the website so they
Yep.
can get the book. And then you'll see, oh my gosh, yes, with this great coupon, it's
Yeah.
very reasonable and approachable.
Yeah.
And the book includes a free download of the song.
Oh, how fun.
So we really want to make it accessible for people.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we've talked about some of the benefits of bringing children into the conversation, so that they have a better understanding about a disease process and how they're interacting with someone that they love and care about. Are there social implications for educating children as well? Like, what are the benefits and social implications?
You want to jump in on that one, Brenda?
Our whole blog on our website is about those things, social implications. For example, every month we talk about an advantage of educating children about Alzheimer's. And these things that we are talking about are not just for families who have Alzheimer's in their family. These are things that if every child learned, it would make a better society.
Yeah.
Alder, I'll let you go into detail on what some of those are.
Okay. We have a blog on reducing stigma. As people, as a general population, if somebody is too different, we get a little wary of them. Some people will bully that person. They don't understand that that person is different and why. So if you're teaching a child about Alzheimer's and your grand has this disease and the behaviors are not grand, they're from the disease. And you're separating that out and you're decreasing the stigma. There's also research. We have another blog on career choices. There's research that children who have been introduced to caregiving tend to do much better in school and will sometimes choose careers in the healthcare field, whether it's they want to become a doctor and do research and they want to cure the disease because they didn't like that grand had that disease, or they want to be a nurse so that they can take care of somebody. So it's a chance for them to get a career choice or a career path and think about career. Then there's the everyday life skills of teaching a child, okay, go in the kitchen and you guys make snacks. We talked about the snacks earlier, but fixing your own food is a life skill. That's something we all have to learn to do. One of the other blogs is on scheduling, and that tends to be our favorite blog that people really go to, because if you create a schedule, everyone benefits because everyone knows what to expect and what's coming down the pike. And if you do it together, people are more compliant. So you sit with the kid, when do you want to do your homework? When are we going to have snack time? When are we going to have rest time? What time should we have breakfast? Those kinds of things. Then everybody has a track to run on. Who's responsible for taking out the garbage? Or who's responsible for different chores? And it can really make a real positive difference, not just within the family, but if a family member comes from somewhere else to visit, you keep the same schedule, because they found people with Alzheimer's and dementia do much better when there is a regular schedule. So if it's incorporated into the home already, then it just makes it easier. It makes it easier for a hired caregiver to come in and just integrate into that family. So it's become one of our most popular blogs.
Right. We even talked about it in our Christmas blog about how, even though it's the holidays, try to keep that schedule as much as possible. of course, there's always flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the other blogs are on compassion,
Mm-hmm.
because children who grow up learning how to be compassionate toward people who have Alzheimer's, that transfers into other parts of their lives. And then we also have another one on empathy, how learning about Alzheimer's teaches children about empathy. And we include in every blog, there is some kind of freebie, like a PDF or a very useful video. So we really, encourage people to go to the blog, because they're just, there's a lot of good information there and things they can download to have with them at all times. Yeah.
And I'll be sure to put a link directly to the blog in the show notes as well. As you were going through the schedule, something that came to mind for me, being the sandwich generation, I had shared before we started recording that I was the caregiver to both of my grandmothers. And that was when we were growing our family. So I had 3 children, ages 5 and under. And my 3-year-old, she just required more than what I was a stay-at-home mom. Like, what a gift and a blessing to be a stay-at-home mom, caring for these 3 little children, caring for my grandma. And she required more than I felt like I could give her at the time with the schedule, because I was very loosey-goosey all over the place with, because my grandmother didn't live with us, but I had to commute to care for her and keep an eye on her. And anyway, so I put her in full-time daycare. And so she could have a schedule, because I thought that is the most loving thing I could do for my daughter, was to give her the structure of that schedule. And, we did that for like 3 months, and then things felt like they had settled back down. And I was able to bring her back home and go back to the low Christian childcare that we had been doing, preschool we had been doing prior to. But different kids need different things. Right. So as a parent, just having that moment of recognition for me, it was upsetting as her mom to feel like I can't meet the needs of this child. And so what do I need to do to make her life easier and better? And it was just the right thing to do at the time. And she still likes structure. She's 21 now. Has zero memory of that, by the way, of going to full-time daycare. But she still requires a lot of structure. So I think that's just another invitation for the listeners who are finding themselves in the sandwich generation, if like you're being pulled in all these different ways, is to really look at the needs of each individual that is part of this care ecosystem, and have a better understanding of what people need. I feel like the 3 pillars, absolute pillars of caregiving, are curiosity, communication, and compassion.
Yep.
Both for the person that we're caring for and for ourselves.
And we have a blog on communication.
I love it.
We do.
Yes.
Because it's, as you said, it's so important. It's one of the pillars. And after a while, someone with Alzheimer's forgets how to talk. And sometimes they can't make their needs met or get their needs met because they're having trouble expressing themselves. And a child is really close to that, because they have trouble expressing themselves too. That's part of the growing process and part of growing up. So they live in a pretty nonverbal world too. And sometimes the child can figure out what the elder person wants faster than we can, because they understand nonverbal communication so well. And I loved what you said. You picked up what your 3-year-old needed. And that's just so awesome. And that's part of that communication and that honesty that you have and you incorporate in a family. And I just love that.
Thank you. I think that when, and you both know this firsthand, when we're talking about the deep emotions that come with navigating a disease process, we
Mm-hmm.
really, it is important to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Try and not brush things under the rug.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
that
really
we,
stress that in the program.
yeah.
Yeah, to be honest. I wrote a chapter in a collaborative book. The book is called The Caregiver's Advocate, and I wrote the chapter on the Alzheimer's conversation, why and how to include children, and really stressed that point in there. Yeah, the honesty.
Yeah. And, you know, being on the phone in the other room, crying and whispering, and that I think creates more fear in children than having an honest conversation with them to
Mm-hmm.
their skill and ability and understanding that's appropriate.
And
I
then
mean,
think what you're teaching them by, instead of sneaking around to cry, you're teaching them that it's not okay to cry in public. It's not
mhm,
okay to include people in your pain. Whereas when you're honest with it and it's out there as part of the family, then you're teaching them that this is a human emotion and it's okay. And we cry and we deal with it and then we get through it. And how we get through it is such a wonderful skill to teach children.
Right. And not just, I have to stress this, not just families who are dealing with loved ones who have Alzheimer's or any type of dementia. These are skills that, if they are incorporated in every family is healthier,
Mhm.
you know? So I think that's just really important to learn that these are universal skills.
Mhm.
well, and exactly to that point, Brenda, maybe it's not your family that is in this space, but maybe it's your child's best friend's family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so then as they're, you know, if you're 7 years old and your best friend's gran is living
Mhm.
with that dementia, like how do you be a good friend to somebody who's in that
Yeah.
space? And so I can really see this incorporated if someone's a teacher listening into
Mhm.
curriculum
Exactly.
in some way, to help. I think also what we desire is a common language around
Mhm.
certain things to
Yeah.
help, yeah, to help improve communication.
Hmm.
Um,
I love that you brought that up because I remember as a kid it was, oh, so and so's having a sleepover tonight. Can we go to the sleepover? Or so and so's, kid in my class, it's their birthday party or
mhm.
whatever. Can I have everybody over in my class for the birthday party? And you're going, well, I don't think so because we've got this person with dementia here in the home, and I don't know if we can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
But if we share that education, then maybe we can do that.
And Emma Hemming Willis, Bruce Willis's wife, has really been elevating this with her book, The Unexpected Journey, and
Mm-hmm.
talking about how her kids were really suffering ultimately because they stopped having people to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it because of what could happen at any given moment or any given time with Bruce, and that like it was just so challenging and confusing and hard for her own children.
Yes.
Um, and it impacted them and their playmates. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just, Brenda, I really just want to elevate your point again and highlight it that this isn't just necessarily about your kids and your family. Like this is a community resource. This is a community area of concern that needs to
Mm-hmm.
be highlighted.
Thanks. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So how can people reach you? I'm going to put all of these links. So phone numbers can sometimes be tricky too, because sometimes those can change too. But what is the best way for people to connect with you and learn about the Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's Awareness Program?
We have an email, Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's at gmail.com. And I do want to say that we spell Mackenzie Mackenzie because there are different spellings for Mackenzie. So we do tend to spell it out for people. And, they can reach us through the email directly like that, Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's at gmail.com, or on our website. We have a contact area. And we are on social media at Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's. Pretty much, universal. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention about our program when we're talking about this universal idea, is that our program is great for all abilities. In other words, even the hearing and those with hearing and visual impairments, because we do offer transcripts for all of our videos. For those who are hearing impaired, we offer a lyric video in our program, so a person can watch the video and follow with the lyrics. And we meet the needs of those who are visually impaired because it's an auditory program. All the information can be absorbed auditorially. So I just really wanted to throw that in, that we serve all abilities. And yeah.
That's great. Okay, I have two final questions for you. One is, Alder, what is on your playlist? I mean, you're a music therapist. What are you listening to these days? What lights you up?
What lights me up, and this is going to sound terrible. Well, no, it's not going to sound terrible, because it's what's real for even people with Alzheimer's and dementia. I like the familiar songs that I grew up with. Those are what really light me up. The Beatles are like, I was working out at the gym this morning and we had on Motown to do our aerobics. That's what I grew up with. That's what was fun. I love to listen to ABBA and dance to ABBA. So it's what I grew up with and what I'm familiar with. The more recent music, I don't listen to as much.
Not feeling that connection. I love it. I love all those genres too. What about you, Brenda? What are you listening to? What's on your playlist right now?
I'm more into the singer-songwriter things by people that you might not have ever heard of, but are, breaking out here and there. I love Ellis. I like Jamie Harris. She's someone out of Austin. I'm still a CD buyer. So I haven't gone totally digital with my music. So I listen to those people. I like Michael O'Connor. It's endless. I have stacks of CDs. Those are the three main people that I'm listening to.
Yeah.
Oh, Mary Gaucher. It's interesting because I recently attended the think tank in Austin, and for one of our deliverables for our group, I put together a song list of singer-songwriters who have written songs related to Alzheimer's or dementia, or just people who have death and dying. And Tommy Bird is someone. I had several of his songs on there. I love his songs. He performs as Bird and Street, BYRD. Some excellent songs. Frank Gilligan is someone who wrote a really great song. So there are just some really great songs out there that happen to relate to this topic.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing those. I love being expanded and learning new things. So this is great. Well, I'm going to put the names of those artists in the show notes too, so people can go check them out. So my final request is, if each of you were sitting in front of that sandwich generation caregiver right now, and what she's going through, even if we don't know the specific details, because so many families have very unique circumstances, but there's still a lot of common denominators and similarities. Just what would you like to say to them? Brenda, we'll start with you first.
I know some of those people, and I would say to them, what can I do for you? One thing that I do for people in this situation, I've done it for several, is I go and clean their house. They love it. I mean, like, I go clean it top to bottom. And if they will allow, I even do cupboards and drawers. Not rearranging anything so they don't know where it is, but I would say, what can I do for you that you would feel like a load has been taken off? And that's just one example of something I have done.
That's lovely. And what about you, Alder? What would you like to say to them?
I'd like to say, take care of yourself and allow other people to help you carry the burden. That it just doesn't have to be all on your shoulders. And it's so hard to release it to somebody else or to invite somebody else to help you. It's really hard, and it's not a failure. Actually, it's a win because you are allowing somebody else in to understand, to get some skills, and you're also teaching your children that it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to share your burdens and be a team member.
I love that. We're all in this together. It's a community.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all on the same team. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here today. I think this was a beautiful conversation, and I'm excited for people to connect with you.
Well, thank you for
Michele.
having us. It was just great.
Absolutely.